Recording in progress.
Is a quorum half or more, or it's 4? So it's, but we have an odd number, so is that 3.5 or? Oh, higher, okay.
I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. This is the Solid Waste Advisory Commission regular meeting for August. It is August 28th, 2024. It is now 3 minutes after 4, and we'll start with roll call. Please indicate if you are present. Andy Arriaga. James Leckie. Mark Nelson. Megan Sonnen.
Here.
Scott Walters. Steve Corey, here. Bethany Guajardo. And we'll move on to ex officio members, Rochelle Klein.
Here.
And I see by the online that we do have Bethany and Andy connected. Bethany and Andy, if you could unmute your mics and go ahead and give us a hear, that would be great. Bill, can I go ahead and proceed?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I think I just make note for the record that they are online, and as long as they are there, I think they should be.
Hello.
There we go.
Thank you, Andy.
I can't hear you.
Okay, so quorum being present, we'll go ahead and move on to.
Hello.
Yeah, Andy, can you hear me? Anyway, we'll move on to the first item on action item, which is approval of the agenda. Are there any comments on the agenda?
Mr. Chair, no comments. Move to approve the agenda as written.
Is there a second? I assume I can second. I will second that. Is there further discussion or any motions in relationship to the agenda? Sensing the commission is ready for a vote, all those in favor of approving the agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? The motion passes. The next item is approval of the minutes. We'll take them individually. The first one is the set of minutes for the regular meeting of July 24th, 2024. Are there any comments on those draft minutes?
Mr. Chair, no comments. Move to approve the July 24 minutes as written.
I'll second. Any comments or motions in relationship to the regular minutes for July 24th? Sensing the commission is ready for a vote, all those in favor of approving the minutes as drafted signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed, nay? The motion passes. We'll now move on to the minutes for the special meeting of August 6th. Are there any comments on the draft minutes for August 6th meeting?
Mr. Chair, no comments. Move to approve the August 6 minutes as written.
I'll second that. Are there further comments or motions in relationship to those draft minutes? Sensing the commission is ready for a vote, all those in favor of approving the draft minutes as written signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, say no. The ayes have it. With that, we will move on to staff program report. We'll start off with the monthly presentation, and while normally we're kind of waiting to find out if there's anything we need to do for city council on fees and stuff when it comes to the August regular meeting, 2 weeks ago, a couple articles popped up in the local newspaper. One of them was about the Orange Bag Program. The other one was about plastic bags in supermarkets. And as we as commissioners have the opportunity to deal with the public, I expect that there's a lot of interest that's been generated in the public about soft plastics. And so I asked that some information be put on the agenda for us to have a better understanding of the current state. So the first thing we'll do is have a staff report on the Orange Bag Program, the energy bag program that Hefty runs. Sayard.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
just wanted to make note, I have an email here from Commissioner Guardo, said that she's having trouble with the Zoom. And I don't know if it might be better if she logged out and logged back in on the phone. That might connect better, I don't know.
It's working now. It was just
Okay, great.
black till a couple minutes ago.
Okay, great.
So we talked a little bit about this maybe a few months ago, just an overview of the program, but this is going to be more in depth as the chair talked about. So as we said, as I talked about before, the Orange Bag Program is now called Hefty Renew Program, but it's still the same concept. So the process, which I think most of you probably know, is that a resident can collect hard-to-recycle plastics, such as silverware, plastic bags, foam packaging, and place it in this orange bag, and then they can place that in their recycling cart, and that gets transported by Republic to the MRF, and that's hand-sorted out at the beginning before it goes through the whole process. And then that is then, Hefty comes in at that point and takes over the process. And then they're the ones that ship it to, there's 3 locations now. There's the main one, that's 60% of the tonnage that's collected is sent to Utah for fuel, and it offsets the use of coal. And then the other 2 are not recovery, or not incineration, but mechanical. So that's the one that we're used to, those blocks. So it basically just mechanically puts those blocks, the bifusion puts those blocks together. And then the other one is advance, and that one, I don't have an example of it, but they heat it up and then they make these, almost looks like a cinder block, but made out of plastic. And then you can make stuff with that. That's a new, the Garden City one is fairly new. And that's roughly 40% of the bags that are collected. And that's 40% of Ada County. So just Ada County in the state participates in the Orange Bag program. So not 40% of Meridian, but all of Ada County. And then the main contaminant that they do have are clamshells and water bottles. So right now, we all know that clamshells should be thrown away, and water bottles, well, we have a method to recycle them here in Meridian. And then I just wanted to showcase that we do have information on our website that talks about what's accepted and where you can find the orange bags. But then we also link to the Hefty website that goes more in depth, and if things change, that website's best to look at. So I just kind of wanted to highlight that. And on our website and the Hefty website, this is what's allowed in the orange bag. This is a snapshot of what we have, or on our website. Lays out pretty well what's the yeses and the nos. And here's an example on your right of the bifusion block. And then on the left, I got a snapshot of, we're given 6 months of information, so you can compare 2024 to 2023 tons that were collected. And when they say Western Idaho, it's Ada County. So Ada County and all the municipalities. That's what that means. So around, right now, 116 tons, and then last year was just a touch, comparing the same months, just a touch more. And they didn't have a reason why that was. But it's still fairly close. And I think that's all I have. Does there anybody have any questions on any of the slides?
Members of the commission, any comments? Court, you have a...
So how many, I don't know. What they're getting used for, I'm still waiting to be allowed to show those pictures, but I can explain what I saw, I think. So what park in Boise? Manitou? Manitou Park, there's a bench?
There's a bench like the length of this table that's made partially out of them.
Yeah, but the Bifusion did say that to properly use these, you should encase them in something, like acrylic or something, because it will fall, the plastic will kind of slough off, because it's just really pushed together. So that's one thing that you have to do. And then the pictures I saw were, so yeah, benches, or one was a waste enclosure. So like, just like walls and then it closed. And then one was, I think, a countertop at a coffee shop. So those are the things that I've seen, but I don't know how many are in the market. And with the Garden City one, I'm not sure, but I think that one's even newer, and I'm not sure about that. Yeah.
Yep. And I think the only one, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, the only one in our area, I think, is the Manitou Park bench, right? Isn't that correct? The only one in Idaho?
That's what that's what I've heard.
Members of the commission, additional comments? I think the one thing that concerned me was when a former Boise council person went ahead and expressed doubts about the recycling process. I'm worried about those doubts seeping into the public view. And so I do really appreciate kind of getting a understanding of what the current program is, that helps us when, if those doubts come up, that we can say, well, this program exists. Hopefully there'll be more opportunities in the future for these type of.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, we hear that because historically, as they're trying out new technologies, in between that or along with the new technologies, they do incinerate a lot, or they're used as fuel. And so I think that there was concern that it was like a bait and switch. Like we were told these were going to be recycled and they're just being burned. And so I think the commentary is more that it supplants coal, right? So it's an upgrade from coal. So I think it's not being recycled as we traditionally know it. So I think that undermined people's confidence in the program, because originally it was going to be made into diesel fuel, and then there have been different technologies tried. So I think the fact that there's not something tangible like that coming out the backside, that's what we at least hear people's concerns are. But they are being beneficially reused at least, or as a fuel.
Mr. Chair, I think that the issue is in language, right? When what does recycling mean to people? And I know at the commission we've talked about kind of that funnel of recycling, reuse, reduction maybe is at the top, and the different ways that all leads to diversion from the landfill. And so I think you can get a little stuck on what recycling means versus what is going on with the orange bags. They're not turning back into plastic bags that show up in your grocery store again, and that's just true.
Yes, and I would and I would probably call it more repurpose and recovery, like as a recovery as an energy, not recycling usually means it's being recycled back into like a Coke can or something like that. So or repurposed, this seems like, because they're chipped and then they're kind of being put into these blocks. So I think that's a reuse of that material, but not a recycle, I don't think.
Additional comments or questions at this point by members of the commission? Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to the next item. This is an update on, as I mentioned, our routine work at this point, which is rate, FY25 rate proposal. Sarah, do you want to go ahead and?
Yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know that it went to council, and council wanted some more information. So staff have been working with Republic Services to gather that information, and then we're going to put it all together and then give it to council. And then the next meeting will be on September 10th, the work session, and then right after that we'll do the public hearing. So it's already, so the public, the rates, the highest that they could go are already published as potential, but that's not set in stone yet. And then, yeah, so that's what we have so far.
Members of the commission, are there any questions about where we're at on the process for considering FY25 rates? Very good. We'll go ahead and get an update on that next month. With that, we'll move on to stakeholder updates. And what we've got under there, well, this is Republic Services and maybe a discussion about the Polymer Center. I, for one, am really interested in this and what possibilities it might give us. Rochelle, are you going to go ahead and do this?
Sure, Mr. Chairman, I'll probably tag team with Cord because he's going to have, I might even let him because he's got some new information hot off the presses. So I'll turn it over to Cord for an update on the Polymer Center and what's going on with plastics. While he's coming up, I can just say 245 tons a month we're capturing in just the MRF here. So just to give you an idea of volume, it's a lot. So, and Cord can give you more of an update.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think the mic up there wasn't working, so I went over here to steal Rochelle's. But Yeah, so right now, company's in approval to make a pretty substantial multi-million-dollar investment into an optical sorter and they call it specifically a Plastic Max. And we anticipate that if all goes well, and nothing's guaranteed on approvals, but things are on track accordingly with our corporate office to get that done, which would upgrade the quality of our plastics and allow for a better product to go to the Polymer Center, which is super exciting for everybody, I think.
And then he wants like more, would you like information about the Polymer Center, like what it's doing?
Please do.
I probably know less than you do, to be perfectly honest. But what I can say is, Coca-Cola is the #1 customer of our Polymer Center right now. So I think in the future, a lot of Coke bottles are going to be made from Republic Services Polymer Center plastics, where previously they were not able to do that, and just due to this cutting edge technology, that's a significant waste stream when you think about all the Coca-Cola bottles being consumed around the United States. So that's one example of something that will be used from the Polymer Center.
Yeah. And then I'll just add to that, the actual center itself, we're hoping to recycle 100 million tons a year of plastic. And that's a target goal. I want to say it's 2030. Is it 2030? It's not too far out, but given the volume of plastic that we're now capturing from curb and managing all the way to the Polymer Center, it's a realistic goal for us, and it's a lot of plastic. And
that's a multi-center effort.
Right, multi-center. So this is, we have the first center in Vegas. We have one, I believe, going in Indiana. And Indianapolis, Indiana is the second one. And we're trying to regionally capture these plastics. And the plastic from here, we've done a few test runs down there, and then it wasn't quite clean enough. So like Cord said, we got approval from our company in the near future to put in, it's got tentative approvals. It takes a while to get the equipment and get it installed. So here at the Boise MRF off Cole, we'll install the Plastic Max. Once it gets down to, and that's capable of taking 1s, 2s, and 5s. So the 5s are going to be new, and we're working with Sayard and team on outreach. So by a little bit later this fall, we'll switch all of our outreach. Yeah, so that'll include the lightweight squishy water bottles. So it'll be all the lightweight water bottles and the number 5 plastic tubs, so your salsa and cottage cheese and dairy tubs and things like so food container tubs. So that'll really open the door for more recycling at the curb, which will be exciting. And we can also relabel the recycling container for plastics at the transfer station to say plastics 1, 2, and 5 instead of just squishy water bottles. Once it goes down, so these plastics here are aggregated just as mixed plastics, and they're baled, and then they'll be shipped there, and then resorted. So we'll have the number 1s and 2s and 5s, and then it'll be colored and natural also. So they'll go through a whole nother sorting process down there. And then there's scrubbed, and then they're all rinsed and then scrubbed and then either flaked or pelletized into food grade quality material. So that's the first of its kind here of the scale to go food grade up to food grade quality. So a number of large, Fortune 100 companies in particular, have sustainability goals, and if they're in manufacturing, it's to incorporate recycled plastic into their packaging, and so we're the go-to right now. So I think we have 3 in the early phases. We have the one that we're using in Vegas. That one, that's for our target market, is up and running and working well. The other 2, Indianapolis is next to come online, and then I believe we have one in the south, Texas is the third one. So we have the 3 right now to kind of triangulate the country and capture plastics. But it's a very exciting time for us. As you guys remember, when China shut down, between China Sword and Green Fence, those 2 initiatives really shut down the Chinese market, which was the global big market. We waited for a number of years for a domestic market to emerge, and then we finally said, we're so big, we need to make these strategic investments and start controlling domestically handling these materials. So we're really excited that these materials will stay here in the United States and just continue to be hopefully recycled at one of the Polymer Centers.
That's what I meant to say.
And it was well said. And indeed, as we were kind of alluding to at the start of the meeting, this is true recycling because it takes the individual types of plastics, the number 1, the number 2, the number 5, and goes ahead and produces a feedstock that can be used by others to create new number 1, number 2, and number 5 type products. So it replaces virgin stock right now with something that's a recycled material. So that's a really nice change for the United States to be able to have this capability.
And I do want to emphasize that this is a first of its kind pioneered by Republic. So, Republic right now, this is it's proprietary, the process, and so we're going to be the only show in town for some time.
And I would guess that's there may be more things that there'll be more of an ask from you beyond just the foreseen one, the mentioned one of being able to take number 1, number 2, and number 5 plastics, but that's something we'll be hearing about in the future?
Yes, I think we're coordinating with staff right now, and I think we're coordinating as a valley with the communication on that. So like the social media, we'll have social media posts going out, we'll have printed materials going out, we'll have information on the new calendar for next year. So when that comes about, we actually can do it right now, but we have to update all the brochures. So, Sayre had mentioned we need to make sure that we communicate with Hefty, which we've been doing, and we have all of the municipal brochures need to be updated. So all the Meridian residents will get a new trifold that shows the new plastic, plastics that can be accepted and things like that. So all the websites have to be updated. So we're slowly gaining momentum to do a comprehensive launch at the same time. And that'll, I think, be late September, early October. Is that what you're thinking, Sayre?
Members of the commission, do you have any comments or questions about the information that's been presented? Well, very good. As a process engineer, chemical engineer, or whatever else, I know I was kind of hoping to get a chance to get a peek, and the timing really didn't work out too well, but I'm looking forward to seeing your facility down there if I can get it sometime.
I can promise as soon as they are accepting members of the public, you will be the first to know.
I can bring my hard hat, my safety glasses, and my steel-toed boots that are static dissipating, whatever I need to do to make that happen.
It's very exciting, so I think you'll love it. So, thank you.
Members of the commission, one final shot. Do you have any questions or comments about what we've heard?
I think a SWAC tour of it would be wonderful.
I would echo that. It's very exciting to see those advances and being available here. I'm sure the public will be confused and excited about it.
I would also add what I think I can guess is going to happen over at the MRF is going to be very interesting. So when you go ahead and tell us what you've done over at the MRF, we'll be excited to hear it.
Yes, thank you. And one of the changes, which you'll probably notice right off the bat, is we are moving trash from the middle of the parking lot. Like right now, trash is baled and put in containers. We're going to move all of that, clear all of that out, and we're actually going to put chutes and compactors off the back of the MRF to keep that. It's all going to be enclosed, yeah, and that should help with fugitive litter and things like that, and just it'll increase sight triangles in every direction. It'll be really great. So all of that will happen about the same time. So it'll be a good MRF overhaul.
Does Republic have anything other than that that they want to go ahead and pass on during this stakeholder session? Very good. Just don't want to go ahead and run over the top of you somewhere along the line. Noting that we don't have any of our other stakeholders here present at the meeting, I guess we'll go ahead and move on after that. Our next meeting is September 25th. As usual, if there's any subjects we should pick up, go ahead and pass them back to Sayard or myself, and we'll go ahead and get them on the agenda. Of course, we'll give a report on what's happened with the FY25 fee structure. Unless there's anything else that needs to come before the commission at this point, then I will go ahead and call the meeting adjourned. Thank you for your participation.